Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Super Paranormal Chronicles. Tonight, I am delighted to have Jamie Mose with me. Jamie is a paranormal investigator, an author. I don't know why, but she collects haunted dolls and haunted objects. We'll get into that in a little bit. And she's an investigator with the Power Hunters, and she's also been involved with the Wraith Chasers. Jamie, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Let's not tell anybody about all the technical issues that we've had at the very beginning. We'll just ignore that.
Well, it was on my end, so I won't say anything.
Okay, so thank you for coming onto the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're most welcome. And what I always like to do is I'd always like to start right at the very beginning of your life. And how did you first get involved with the paranormal?
Well, I was young. I was only about 15 years old. And I had an experience at my parents' house that I couldn't explain. And so, of course, it scared me. But I didn't understand it because I was always raised as a Baptist. And so we were always taught that, as soon as you die, you're before the Lord. So I couldn't understand why this spirit had come to my home and was not. Well, what happened was I was at home by myself and my parents were working until midnight. And so I was on the phone with a friend, listening to the radio. I was not scared. I was not nervous, anything. Well, then something came to my window and knocked on my window. So I just thought it was my brother coming home. And so I went to open the window or, look out the window. And when I did this, the only way I can explain it is that there was this high pitched crying sound that started. And I've been in the woods my whole life. I've, went hunting, fishing. We've played out in the woods for forever. This is no animal I'd ever heard. And then, so I got scared and I told my friend on the phone, I said, there's somebody outside my window and it sounds like they're crying. And then all of a sudden they knocked. The person on the window or whoever was at the window knocked and said my name. So then I started to panic because I knew it was not my parents. It wasn't my brother. And of course, you know how you get that feeling, that cold up and down your spine. I was like, this is not good. And so I told my friend, I said, something's wrong. So she went to go call my other friend that lived just about a mile away from me because I lived way out in the country. The closest town from me was probably about close to 20 miles. So anyways, it was snowing at the time. And so while she went to go get my friend on the other phone, because this is a long time ago before cell phones. And then it knocked and said my name 2 more times. And so by this time, I'm in a puddle of tears. I'm crying. I'm like, somebody's got to help me. I'm freaking out. And so my friend and her dad come down and he comes in the driveway sideways. He's got his gun out and he walks all around the house. There's no footprints in the snow. There's no animals to be found. There's nothing. And so I couldn't understand what had happened. And so, of course, everybody said, oh, it's just your imagination. And I'm like, no, I wasn't scared. I was on the phone with my friend listening to the radio. I had no reason to be scared. So anyway, I didn't understand that. And so then after that, that's when I started going to the cemeteries. And then if I could find, an abandoned house or something, I started trying to play around with it and figure out what the paranormal was. Why did this happen to me? Then over time, then it started coming on TV. Of course, Ghost Hunters came out. And I was like, wow, I was like, I didn't know other people were even interested in this. Then I learned that they had all these cute little gadgets that you could use. So I started ordering those. And so over the years, I just started learning more about it and getting way more into it. And finally found some people that were just like me, interested in the paranormal. And so started from there and have progressed and met friends and have friends from all over the world now. So.
Yeah, because it's quite interesting how, you kind of invited me to add you as your friend on Facebook, which I did. And then started like, oh, yeah, I'm friends with that person. I'm friends with that person. I'm friends with that person. I'm friends with that person.
Yes.
Like and it's such a close-knit community.
Yes.
That once you start doing what we're doing right now, like there's so many different connections and people that, oh, get this person on, and and it's like, say, everyone likes to help each other.
Oh yes, yeah.
So can you remember your very first investigation?
Actually, yes, I went to Gainesville, Texas, which for me is only about maybe 45 minutes away from me. And we went to a home there that was haunted. And so I spent the night in there, and all these crazy things happened. I heard voices, I heard footsteps, and it just blew my mind. And again, I'm with a bunch of like people, they were all interested in this. And so I had the best time of my life. That's when I started finding out that they had paranormal conferences, and then they had events where you go do ghost hunting with people. Man, I was hooked from there for sure. Yeah, that was such an awesome, awesome place. And then we actually also went to a train station there in Gainesville, and then a park where there was a whole bunch of people that were hung um during the Civil War and things. So amazing time. And so, oh yes, that was my first time, and I was so hooked from there.
That is awesome. It was actually quite funny because the fact that we went to New Jersey a year ago to a paranormal convention, when I'm coming over the border, the TSA agent, so where are you going? Going to New Jersey. How long are you going there for? 3 days. What are you going there for? A paranormal convention. I'm sorry, a what?
Yes.
It's like, okay, sir, have a good day. Bye bye.
Oh,
It's sort
yes.
of like,
It's so fun going
yeah.
through the airport when you have your equipment with you, because usually they'll look at it and look at you like, "What's wrong with you?"
Yeah. Yeah, it's actually quite funny because we had to go to the UK uh, in November. That's why I think we rescheduled this thing. And as I'm going through security, I've actually got this hoodie on. One of the security agents stops me and she goes, "I've just read the back of your shirt. Have you got a business card?"
Oh,
So I'm like,
wow.
"Yes, yeah, sure, there you go." So she goes, I love this stuff, but I thought I'd ask you after you got screened. Oh, yeah, sort of like, yeah. So you had your first investigation. At what point did it take you before you actually joined a group and then became like an organized investigator with a team?
Well, it took me probably not very long, probably about 3 or 4 months after that, I got on a team, and then, we started investigating and things like that, but you know how things go. I wasn't involved with it, but the team broke up. But after doing that, I realized, I don't think teams were for me, that much. And so I basically started traveling a lot on my own. And so, I was traveling all across the United States. I jump on a plane, go somewhere. And so that's how I started doing a lot more events with the Wraith Chasers, because I got to be friends with them and everything. And so they were, so friendly and so helpful. And so I felt safe with them. I knew if something happened, they'd be there to help me out or whatever. So I started going to a lot of their events. And and then from there, and they would laugh because they're like, "Man, anywhere in the United States, and she'll just pop up." But then as I started doing their events, I started meeting a lot more people that they call them Wraith Raff. And
Yeah,
so,
that's good.
yes. And so I started meeting a lot more people. Now I have some really great friends that are all with the Wraith Raff. And then of course I've met other people along the way, different groups and things like that. And so again, like I said, I've got a lot of friends all across the US, and I have some people, in different countries now that I'm friends with. So it's been a really interesting ride, and so much fun. I've always said when I was younger, I said, I wish there was something that I loved so much to do, that I would give up pretty much everything. Found it. So that's why all my money goes to usually traveling, going to events, things like that. I don't go on a vacation unless there's some place that I'm going to that's haunted.
Definitely. I like how you think. I like that idea. Funnily enough, when I was in the UK, we went to a World War II museum, and the wife was talking to the owner, and we obviously got onto the subject, and he's actually invited us to come and do an investigation at his museum in England. I went, "You do realise that we live in Canada?" He went, "Yeah, and?"
Yeah.
So, so he's actually invited us. That'd be cool. So, out of all the times that you've been on all these investigations, are there any particular ones that stand out for you?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. Probably, I would say have to say Waverly Hills. Every time I've gone to Waverly Hills, and we do some private investigations. Like me and some of my friends, we'll just get together and we'll rent some place. Like we've rented Waverly Hills, we've rented Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary. Um, Drawing a blank, but we've been, lots of different places. But Waverly Hills is probably the most active every time we go. I always get voices, footsteps. We got a rock thrown at us. All kinds of shadow people in there. And then phantom smells and whistles. I got whistles right in my ear and just so much activity. But Brushy Mountain State Penitentiary was also really awesome. I really like going there. Um, Trying to think now. Alcatraz was awesome. Loved Alcatraz. Didn't get a lot of activity, but it was just awesome to be there. We stayed at the Lizzie Borden house. We got a few EVPs there. That was pretty cool. I just went to Trans-Allegheny again. I've been there. I think this is my fourth or fifth time going, but Trans-Allegheny is also very active every time we go. We get footsteps, we get voices. We've gotten a couple of cool EVPs from Dean. I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Trans-Allegheny?
I know of it. It's a place I want to go, but I've not really looked into it. So you booked this date because you knew that you were going to Trans-Allegheny, like, was it last weekend? I think it was.
Yeah, about
So
about 2 weekends ago.
yeah. So please give us all that information.
Well, number one, it is massive. It is huge. And so even when we went to events, I think there were 60 people at this event, but there's 4 floors. And then, you get 15 people split up on each floor and you can go way off by yourself. And that's what I like to do. I like to investigate by myself because I don't want anybody interrupting me or, anything. And again, we got footsteps. We got, there is one room where this guy named Dean was killed. Um, he was actually, I think he was 32 years old, but he had the mind of a 9-year-old. And these 2 guys were bullies, and they would hang him up from the rafters, I guess, and then they would choke him out, and then they would let him back down and let him breathe and wake up. They did it several times, and then finally he wouldn't die. So finally they put the leg of the bed on his head and jumped until they killed
Yeah,
him.
I've heard that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so Dean stays in that room where he was killed, and he's usually very active. Like when we had our equipment set up, and he was setting everything off. And then, but like I said, we always get pretty good EVPs with him because, of course, we try to talk to him on his level. And so we were talking about birthdays, and we were talking about cake, and so we were asking him, do you like cake? And he says, I like chocolate. So we got that EVP. That was super cool. But
That's
oh
cool.
gosh, yeah, Trans-Allegheny, it's so active. We heard a little girl giggle in one of the hallways, and then we heard it sounded like one of the wooden chairs scooting across the wooden floor. No, we didn't get to see it. We just heard it. But oh gosh, that place is so active, and I just love it there.
So you would move in there if you had the chance, then,
Oh
would you?
yes, definitely.
Yeah, it's weird how, like, anybody that does investigating always has like a wish list, and like
Yes,
Trans-Allegheny is always close to, if not at the top of that wish list. Like I
yes.
say, yeah, it's on our wish list as well. But yeah, it's yeah, America's quite a big country. It's not like we don't all have as much money as you do to go traveling all the time.
Oh, the only reason I have it is because I don't spend it on anything else.
Okay, fair point. Fair point. I can't argue with that. So, with the fact that you've been on so many investigations, are you aware of, or do you know if you actually have any abilities?
I do not.
No,
I do not.
you're
That's why
like me.
I have to use equipment and things because the only time I can sense anything, and I know I hate to use this word because I know everybody throws it around all the time. Because of all the years I've been doing this, I've been doing it for 25, almost 26 years. I've only run into 3 demonic entities. And so now my body can sense when it's demonic because I get a cold up my spine and my stomach twists and my body reacts. That's the only time I can really sense anything. But other than like human spirits and things like that, I don't sense anything. Everybody always says, "Oh, do you feel that?" No, I don't feel anything.
Yeah, it's. I was talking to a younger girl, younger than me because I'm old, from California, JJ Rose. I don't know if you know her.
I don't think so. I might have saw
Yeah,
her face. I'm not sure.
yeah, got blondie white hair, and she actually said, "Oh, do you?" When I was doing the podcast with her, you see spirits. It's like, no, no, don't think I do. And she went, don't BS me. You do, but you just don't admit the fact. And I went, oh, okay. So she said, well, you probably you may be a sensitive. And I went, okay, I'll take your word for it because I'm like you. I don't think I have any abilities, but she told me that I do. So we'll have to see how that develops.
Yes. Well,
Yeah,
and I've been told the same thing by several psychics. They're like, "Oh, you have abilities, you just don't use them enough or whatever." And I'm like, "I don't know how to use them. If you tell me how
yeah.
to use them, I would."
Yeah, and I'm exactly the same. It's not as easy as what they make it out to be because
Right.
you've got to like meditate and like I struggle to sit still at the best of times. I'm not going to sit there and meditate.
Yeah.
So, no, yeah, is there an easy way of doing this? Because I think it would be much better. So one thing that I do want to talk about, and a lot of people would actually call you crazy.
Oh, yes.
You you collect haunted dolls and haunted objects.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you, are you crazy?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, okay, that's it. End of the podcast. She's crazy. That's all we need to know.
Yeah.
So, how did that come about?
Well, it was the strangest thing. I was actually at a paranormal conference and they were having an auction. And they said there was this one doll that was haunted. Well, of course, I was like, okay, whatever. Because at the
Oh yeah,
beginning, of course, I was total skeptic because I was like, this is not real. Y'all are just faking, and all, when people would say things. But then, of course, I started seeing things, hearing things, couldn't explain it. And I'm like, okay, something's going on here. But, anyways, but I saw this doll and I just had this pull towards her for some reason. And so me and this one girl went to a bidding auction. I mean, I'm sorry, bidding war. And so we kept going up, going up, going up. And finally I told her, I said, I will sell my house to get this doll. So you might as well back off. So she finally did. And I finally got the doll, but I don't know what the draw was to her, but I had to have her. And I was going to pretty much max out a credit card to get her. Luckily I didn't have to.
oh man,
But, so when I brought her home, I did spirit box session with her. I did dowsing rods, I just did different things with her. And I got some responses from her. And that shocked me, because I was like, wow. So anyway, so over time, I would say that's probably maybe my only really, I guess, sensitivity or whatever is to haunted dolls. I have a pull towards them. I can feel like a pull. And so whenever I'm in like antique stores or anywhere, and I'll go up to a doll and I'm like, nope, not haunted. Nope, not haunted. And then I'm like, this one has something attached. I don't know why. I don't know. But almost every single time I've been correct because when we bring the doll home or if someone has any gadgets or anything, we'll check it out. And sure enough, there'll be something attached to that doll. And so over time, I've bought my own dolls, but then I've inherited some dolls, because I've kind of gotten craziness, I guess, spreads. But anyways, people have found out my name and things like that. And um, so they'll get a doll and it freaks them out. They'll start having nightmares and they'll start hearing things and things like that. So they'll ask me if I'll take the doll and I'm like, sure. And so, but when I bring the doll home, I always have a talk with them and I always tell them, I will give you a nice place to stay. I give them their own case and nobody's going to bother you. Nobody's going to touch you or anything, but you have to play nice with everybody else that's here. And if you try to act up and do something silly, you're going to go out in the storage building and not be around anybody else. So I've not had any trouble with any of the dolls.
wow,
Yeah, but they'll move occasionally, and I don't mean like move fast, but they'll I have two dolls that like to face me. So when I put them in their case, I'll, put them nice and straight. But then where I sit on the couch, I have one end that I usually sit on all the time. They will turn eventually and they'll face me so they can see me on the couch. Why they like to stare at me, I don't know, but I just leave them.
That is so cool, and I love it how when you see dolls for sale, you'll see a sign going "doll for sale, not haunted."
Yeah. Yeah.
So, do you do any apart from having a chat with them? Do you do kind of like any kind of protection, like crystals or anything like that, about around the dolls, or do you just have a chat with them and just leave it to it?
Yeah, I used to just have a chat with them. I've not ever really needed to do anything for protection. Like I said, they've always been good. Once I have a talk with them and they get in the house, I've not had any trouble with any of them. But they will, like I said, if I get a spirit box out, I'll try to have sessions with them occasionally. And I found out their names. I found out when they were born, when they died, how they died. I found out a lot of information from them, so it's really interesting. And then when I do go to either paranormal conferences, because some people will ask me to speak, about haunted dolls and other haunted objects, I'll get my dowsing rods and I'll ask them who wants to go with me. I don't just force them to go, and so I'll ask them who wants to go, and I have 3 that are usually the first ones to say that they want to go. And then they will sometimes put on a show because, I'll let people come up with dowsing rods and K2 meters, whatever, and they'll light everything up and they'll answer on the dowsing rods and things like that. So people, it kind of freaks them out too, is how active they'll be with them. But if they want to do it, I'll let them do it. So
That that's interesting. So, have you actually had any? I know you said that they move and they like facing you, but have you had any experiences with the haunted dolls that you can't really explain?
yes, there's been a couple of things like every rare once in a while, I'll hear somebody call my name. But that's kind of a thing that happens though with some people, but it comes from their area. So I'm like, and then just like the other day, I was going to leave for, I think it's when I was flying in Pittsburgh and then going to Trans-Allegheny. So I told them, I said, and I always let them know when I'm going to be gone and when I'll be back. And so I told them, I said, I'm going to be gone for about 4 days. And I said, I'll be back on Sunday. So I turned my back and was getting my luggage and things. And I heard, Mama. And it came from their area. And so I turned around and I was like, no, I'm not your mama, but I'm like, "But okay." I said, "I'll be back, don't worry." So,
So,
yeah, just every
have you
once
had,
in a while.
have you had to send any to the outhouse that have been naughty? No.
No. No, like I said, they not ever tried to scare me. They not ever tried to hurt me or anything like that. Like I said, I've just heard some voices. Now, at one time that I really can't explain it. I don't know if it was them or what, but one time I did forget. I was in a hurry. I had gotten off work early and I came home, grabbed everything and took off out the door and forgot to tell them that I was leaving and when I'd be back. So when I came home, um, I went to the refrigerator and when I opened the door, everything had been pushed to the front and fell out on the floor. And I thought, so I looked all around. I thought, was there an earthquake or did something happen? I looked all around. Everything was straight. All the pictures on the wall were straight. Nothing was moved. So the only thing was all the food had been moved to the front of the refrigerator and fell on the floor whenever I opened the door. I said maybe it was them getting mad at me because they know I like to eat. I'm all about food. And so I thought, did they do that because they got mad at me because I forgot to tell them that I was leaving and when I was coming back? But I couldn't explain how all the food got pushed to the front and fell
Yeah.
out. Like I said, I don't know. But that is something unexplained I couldn't figure out.
That'll teach you. That'll teach you. Don't do that again.
Right.
So, yeah. So we mentioned haunted dolls and haunted objects. So, what kind of objects do you have that have got attachments?
I do have I've got some bricks from different haunted buildings. Don't ask me how I got them, but anyways. And then I have
Jamie, how did you get them?
I don't know. They just appeared in my luggage.
Madam, can you open your suitcase? No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
But then I have some like coffin nails. I have let me look around here. I can't even think. Um I don't know. I just have some different things. Oh, I've got some glassware like bottles that came from different haunted places. Um just kind of different items and stuff, especially things that if I find something at a haunted place, it tends to end up in my pocket.
Okay, we need to have a chat. This is this is
Now,
called
I won't take
kleptomania.
anything from inside the building. Nothing from inside the building, just the outside.
It's
Let,
like,
let me make
like,
that clear.
I wonder how this got in my pocket. So, what kind of experiences have you had with your haunted objects then?
Um, Not a whole lot. The other than maybe just some K2 meter activity that I can't explain, but as far as that, I haven't gotten anything on any of my spirit boxes or anything. Just K2 activity and periscope. I do have some of the older periscopes that are not made anymore. And they'll light up and things like that, but that's about all I've gotten from them. I don't really get voices or anything like that,
Yeah. So,
unfortunately.
yeah, for sure. When you get visitors to your house, apart from the fact that they run down the street screaming,
Uh-huh.
what's the general consensus when people see the dolls and see the other objects?
Oh, they
Yeah.
usually get a look on their face like, I do not want to be here. And then they'll look at me like, what is wrong with you? Yeah, I've had some guys like I've had furniture delivered before, and yeah, they finally said, "What is the deal with those dolls?" I said, "Well, they're haunted." And then one guy was like, "I know that one has been staring at me ever since I came in here."
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because
yeah, they don't care for them.
my wife's got some ceramic dolls, and she says if ever I want to get rid of them, I'm just going to put them on eBay and say haunted,
Yeah.
and see how quickly they go. It's like I've got a contact now. We'll be good. We'll be good.
Oh yeah, just send them to me.
Yeah. So I know that you've done many different locations, not just in the US, but you had the opportunity to go to my neck of the woods in the UK. So, how did that happen, and what happened when you went?
Well, when we went to the UK, we got to actually investigate. Well, this was not planned, but the Hellfire Caves. What
Oh
happened
yeah,
is it was, timed, and so we got the last ticket of the day to make sure that, we had time to go lollygag around and then go over there. Well, when we went there, the people that were ahead of us had already come out of the cave, and they were, just sitting there having a drink. And so me and my friend Carmen, we got to go inside the cave, and we were the only ones there. And we had like an hour and a half, and we investigated, we checked everything out. We got a rock thrown at us in there. My friend got poked in the side. We heard footsteps, we heard voices. It was crazy in there. It was awesome. And it was just one of those happened to be kind of things. And then we got to go to we went to Scotland, so we went to the Edinburgh vaults. And while we were in there, some footsteps and I always kind of stay behind the crowd because
oh yeah,
I want to be left alone. Well, we saw a shadow person in there, and then some footsteps came up right behind me, and of course I was at the very last, and so I turned around with my flashlight, nobody there. And so, oh yeah, and then let's see, what else did we get to do? Oh, we went to the catacombs, Paris catacombs. That was amazing. Now there were too many people milling around, so we really didn't get to do a whole lot of investigating per se. But I had a couple of pieces of equipment with me, and every once in a while, my K2 meter would like light all the way up to red. But again, there were people around, so I don't know if it may have been their cell phones, but I would try to stay away from them as much as
yeah.
possible. So I was pretty far away from them when it went off, but can't say 100%. And then, oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I can't think where all I went. Oh, we stayed at Dalhousie Castle in Bonnyrigg, Scotland. 600-year-old castle. Oh my goodness, that was amazing. We got to go investigate because we were like, there was, I think maybe 5 of us in the castle. Of course, the other people were there just a vacation. Well, me and my friend, we were there to investigate. So we went downstairs where the, oh gosh, what is it called? The, where they kept the prisoners.
Dungeons.
Yes, thank you, the dungeon. Sorry, brain. Anyways, um, so we went down to the dungeon and they said that there was the king had a mistress, and that the queen found out about the mistress, and the mistress disappeared. They never even found her body. They found nothing
Wow.
of her. Well, we got her name was Catherine, and so we got an EVP of a female voice saying Catherine. So that was amazing. And then I'm trying to think what else happened there. I'm drawing a blank, but of course we had a lot of meter activity and things like that there. But we didn't have anything happen in our room. It was only when we were out and about in the castle. Um, and then let's see, where else did we go? We went to Stonehenge, but that was an investigation. That was just to check it out. Um, of course, when we went to Ireland, we went actually to the Hellfire Club there.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was really, really neat. And then we got to go investigate Lep Castle when we were there, Blackwater Castle. Now, Lep Castle, we got a lot of activity. We got to talk to 2 different spirits on the spirit boxes, and one was actually a slave, and he said that he did something to a cow. I can't remember now exactly what happened, but he did something to a cow and it died. So they stabbed him to death because
Wow.
the cow was worth more than he was. And so they killed him. And then another one was a soldier that we talked to. And then we got oh, what's it called? The Bloody Chapel. We were up in there and we got one spirit that was kind of scared and nervous. And so we talked to him and we think we may have crossed him over. We're not 100% sure, but we prayed for him and asked for the light to come in, because he was scared. And so we just wanted him to cross over and be able to get out of that situation. So we think he did because he didn't answer us anymore after he saw the light. So not sure. But let's see, what other castles did we go to? We went to some abbeys. Um, oh my gosh, I'm just drawing a blank. We went so many places there. It was just
So
amazing.
the next time you go to the UK, if you do need a translator, I'm the guy.
Okay.
Okay. just let me know.
Okay.
So after doing all this investigating and going on investigating with the Wraith Chasers and going to my neck of the woods, how did respectful ghost hunting come about?
Well, me and one of my friends, we have been around a lot of people that investigate, and you see the people that they break into places and don't ask for permission and trespass and things like that. And then of course the spirits, whenever they go in there and they're like, I demand that you show yourself, I demand that you do this, blah blah blah. We don't like that. These are human spirits. Be respectful to them. You're in their home usually, even if it's a building that they are just hanging around, that's their spot. That's where they stay. So be respectful of the place that they're staying, and don't get in their face, and don't, because even like us, whenever we go someplace, we introduce ourselves. I tell them where we're from. We sit down. We don't yell, we don't holler because they're not deaf.
Oh
So,
yeah, for sure.
yeah. So we sit down, and a lot of times we just talk about normal things, like we were talking about a while ago, birthday cake. We'll ask them, "Hey, what was your favorite food? What was your favorite drink? What did we try to talk to them about things that we don't sit there and say, "When did you die? How did you die?" Over and over, because that's a question they get asked so many times. And over time, if we get them talking and stuff, we might say, "Well, hey, how did you die?" Or, we might throw that in down the road, but to get them talking, you want to just talk to them like a normal person. You don't go in there demand, because it's just like if you're coming into my house and you demand me to get up and make you a sandwich, do you think I'm going to do it? Nope. I'm probably going to throw something at you or bite you or scratch you.
Oh,
So,
thank you very much. Yeah, I'll be right round.
yeah. But if you were to come in and sit down and introduce yourself and talk to me like a normal person, more than likely I'm going to talk back. So So that's what we try to do. And so that's what we did was we wrote the book about, be respectful about everything. And then we wrote about how to use a lot of the equipment, how it works, and the theories behind them and things like that. And then we told some of our stories, so yeah, it was just, I don't want to say we threw it together, but it was just something that we came up with. And the main important part was to please be respectful, and definitely when you go into these haunted places, be respectful of the buildings, because these people, the people that own them, are spending so much money to try to keep upkeep and things like that. And it infuriates me when I hear about investigators going in there and throwing trash or breaking something and not telling anybody and things like that. That is so disrespectful.
Yeah,
So,
and my mentality is exactly the same as yours. Start off with, I actually like going and wandering off by myself and doing my own little thing, and I find myself apologizing for asking the same old questions. It's like, I'm really sorry. Yeah, we are here for a reason. We love your property. Yeah, and I'm like, you're actually apologizing, and it's like,
yes.
that's one of my colleagues. He kind of gets a little bit, I'm going to use the term aggressive, because yeah, I've had a stroke down the face. I've had my hand held.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what I thought was an apparition, and he doesn't get anything, so he gets frustrated. So he will kind of raise his voice a little bit. So I always kind of go and wander off and go, like, yeah, sort of like, yeah, I'm here to communicate with you. I apologize for asking the same old boring questions and stuff like. And you do try to have a conversation with you.
Yes.
And when you're talking to people, what did you do at the weekend? Oh yeah, I sat in the dark and spoke to myself for like 8 hours. Oh, okay, really cool.
Yeah.
So what was the response with respectful ghost hunting?
Well, we a lot of people liked it, and I think a lot of people learned from learning about the equipment and things like that. But actually, what people liked the most was actually our stories that we told about, the places we'd been and the things we saw and heard and things like that. And that surprised me because a lot of people have asked me, when are you going to write another book? And I'm like, I just don't think people are that interested in my stories. But a lot of people ask me about it. So I keep saying one of these days I may do it. So,
But,
but yeah,
you
it
say
was
that,
a lot of people actually
yeah,
really liked it. Now, and I wrote the book, or we wrote the book probably what, 3 or 4 years ago, and I'm still selling copies of them. So,
got to be doing something right. So when are you doing your next book? No, like, but you're right though, because people do like hearing stories. Because we go to a Comic Con convention. I me and the wife are actually involved with it before, but they've invited us to have a booth and to have some of our equipment. And the amount of people that we get coming up to the table and going, there was this one time when, and then they go on to tell you about their stories. So until people actually realize what you do and you're doing it for the right reasons,
mm-hmm.
then more people will come up to you. They want to hear about your experiences, yeah, and your stories, and they will open up and then they will tell you their experiences and stories too.
Oh yes, I get a lot of that. A lot of people, they say, "Well, people think I'm crazy when I talk about it, but since you do this, what do you think about it?" And they tell me their stories, and I mean, I love listening to their stories too because it's amazing, the stuff that they get to see and hear. And I'm like, "No, where's this house? Can I get in there?"
and, and it's right, because since I've been doing this podcast, and like I only started in February, even my work colleagues, it's like, oh, got any interviews this week? And it's like, oh, who are you talking to tonight, or who are you talking to next week? And
Yes.
like, yeah, some of them actually follow the podcast as well, and they go, oh, that one last week was really good about X, Y, and Z. Yeah, and it like I say, it opens people up, and I always tell people that I always find there's two kinds of groups: the group like us that want to do things the correct way, are courteous, polite, and to want to try to prove the existence of.
Yes.
And then you've got the other ones that just go out, I'm going to say it, for shits and giggles, and just go out, just to be scared at a weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've always got the two kinds, but like I say, the amount we went to a coffee shop and we'd got our t-shirts on, and this old guy tapped us on the shoulder. Like, I just read the back of your t-shirt. He goes, "Do you really do it?" "Yeah, we do." "Well, I'll tell you this story." And it's like, this is the middle of a coffee shop, so it's like,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
Well, one time, me and one of my friends, we went to a Waffle House. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but that's a little breakfast place here in the U.S.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it was like late at night. We had been to this lunatic asylum, and so, anyways, we were just going to grab some breakfast and then go to the hotel. So it's about midnight, and so we sit down, and then all of a sudden we hear the real heavy glass door. I mean, there's no way the wind would have to be super strong to get that door to move because we had trouble getting in the door. So, anyways, it opened and closed. And so, of course, my first reaction was to turn around and look and see who came in. There was nobody there. And so the little waitress, she goes, "Oh, that's our ghost." And I'm like, "What?" "Excuse me?"
Oh,
Yeah. And I'm like, "What ghost? What do you mean?" And so she started telling us that there was actually like 4 different ghosts that stay there at the Waffle House because there was a man that used to be the cook, and I can't remember. He died of like an aneurysm, something crazy. And then a girl got killed in a car wreck, I believe, that used to be a waitress. And then there was a man that was a veteran that came in there every day to eat. And he was the one that was coming in the door. And he would just come and sit, and they said he'll flip things over, like flip the menu. He'll mess with the utensils and things like that. But they said he's the most active. Anyway, we're in there listening to all these stories, and I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy. I can't believe we're coming into a haunted Waffle House." Then, of course, there's a woman in there, and she goes, "Oh, I grew up in a haunted house." And so she started telling her stories. So we were there till like 2:00 in the morning, just everybody telling stories. It was amazing, though. We had so much fun. But
I love that.
yeah, you just
And
never know.
no, that's it. It's absolutely fabulous. And the fact that you like traveling in June of this year, the 3 main guys of the group went to a small hotel in Casanova, New York State, called the Brer Lock-In. You have to go there.
Really?
Yeah. So there's two rooms that are the most haunted, and I'm not a big fan of orbs because I always like to have a natural explanation.
Mm-hmm.
But we caught an orb that was spiraling from the ceiling, then separated, and we've sent it to people, and we can't figure out what it is. And it's not like a normal orb; it just actually kind of. So if it had been a bug, we'd have seen the bug. If it had fallen some paint from the ceiling, we'd have seen that. We cannot explain it. And then when we were setting up the cameras, we had a little cabinet with a TV on top. The door just creaks open, and all it is a cabinet with a little wooden latch on it. We then spent the next half an hour trying to recreate it, putting it like a millimeter on the cat, and it wouldn't do it again. We were banging the sides and jumping up and down the floor. We couldn't get it to open. And we're there for 2 nights. And on the last night, we'd finished the investigation about 2 a.m. All the bedrooms have got these old 4-poster beds. So I get into bed, it's got the old blankets on. I get comfortable. I've been in bed like 30 seconds. And you felt the old blankets settle, which you normally would do. But then a few seconds later, a really heavy sensation of somebody sitting on the bed. And I thought one of the guys from the other room had come in, and I hadn't heard him. Open my eyes, and a white apparition goes past the bed.
Oh.
And I'm like, "Oh my God." And I was so excited. And so someone says to me, "What did you do?" I was so excited. I rolled over and went to sleep. Because we go there, and that's what we want to see.
Yes.
And when we do see it, it's like, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so I highly recommend you go there because it's got some time slips in that location as well. So I've got a big windy stairs coming down, and about a year or so ago, a couple were looking for the owner. Noticed that this big black door was open and a black tie party was going on. So they thought, okay, the owner's at the party, we'll come and find her later. Turned around and went back upstairs. When they found the owner, a couple of hours later, she went, oh, how was the party? What party? They went, well, the big black door was open and there was a black tie party. She went, yeah, that black door's been sealed up for 50 years. And it actually creates the wall to the dining room. So you come down the stairs and walk past to an archway, you go through, and that's where the dining room is. So that door's been sealed, but they could see through it into a time slip.
Oh my goodness.
So you have to go there.
I want to go there now.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay, tell me the name
Yeah,
again.
the Brer Lock Inn. So BRAELOCH Inn.
Okay.
And it's a lovely oldie worldy place. It's absolutely fascinating, and you get the free run of the entire building.
Oh wow.
There was guests staying there on the Saturday, and we were the only guests there on the Sunday. And she went, "If you want to roam around the bar all night, be my guest." And she's so proactive with paranormal investigators. So highly recommend that place. It's great atmosphere.
Okay. Well, thanks for telling me that because I'm
No
gonna have to
problem.
go for sure.
Yeah, I was going to say, put it on your list, and when you go, you can message me and go, yeah, we went last weekend. It was really good.
Well,
Okay.
speaking of that though, that's what one of my friends. We were in the long story, but we were in the hotel after an investigation, and that's what happened to us, or something like that happened to us. We were both in bed. I was in my bed, she was in her bed, and then she said something to me, and I was like, "What?" She said, "Don't pull my blankets," and I was like, "I didn't pull your blanket," and then and so then she goes, "Uh-oh," and she was like, "Okay, something just pulled my blanket," and she said, and then hit me in the back, and I was like, "Oh, really?" I said, "No, I'm over here," and then I felt my bed go down like somebody sat on it, and so I kind of moved my feet. I was like, "What are you doing?" And she answers me from over in the other bed. She said, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Somebody just sat on my bed." And see, this is how desensitized we are to it. She goes, "Okay, that's it. Whoever it is, get out. We're going to sleep." We did talk about that though, about when you've done it for so long, you get really desensitized to it, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
So,
Uh,
like, we'll say,
yeah,
"Oh, how'd y'all doing your investigation?" We're like, "Oh, just one door opened, and my hair got pulled. That was it. Not much." And other people are like, "Oh my gosh."
yeah. Because a few weeks ago, we went to this this old place. It's about an hour or so drive, and it's supposed to be there's supposed to be some really good evidence. People have had their hair pulls, and people have seen these little flags that stand on like desks. They're
Oh
like
yeah.
yay big.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, one of those just come out and then flop over and stuff like that. So we started off the ground. The ground floor's been completely put back to how it looked in the 1800s, but the upstairs is still being worked on. So it looks like it looks very run down, but they raise money, do a little bit, raise money, do a little bit more. So in time, it'll all be back open. And I was up there, and I'm in like a alcove of a window, and all of a sudden, my hand got grabbed, and my colleague was maybe 6 foot away. My immediate thought was, oh, it must have been a cobweb. But then I thought, I'm in an alcove. My shoulder or my arm would have taken out the cobweb. So it wasn't, plus it was hanging out my pocket. My hand was. So it's like, okay, can I explain that? No.
Mm.
And we actually had like NVR cameras everywhere. So the guy that was at the base station, he actually said, yeah, I noticed you spin around straight away when you got your hand. And then I mentioned it, and he went, yeah, that was a genuine response, that was. And it's like, yeah. And when these kind of things happen to you and you don't expect them, it's even much more fun than rather than go, okay, I heard footsteps. Yeah, I hear those all the time.
Yeah.
Or an EVP or something like that. So do you, apart from the places you've already been to, do you have a bucket list of places you want to go to?
Oh yeah. Well, first, doll wise, I still have not met Annabelle, so I want to meet Annabelle, and then I want to meet Robert from Key West, Florida.
Yeah.
And then I would love to meet Howard too. And I think he's in I'm trying to think now. I think you might be in Zach Bagan's museum now. I'm not 100% sure. But I know Peggy's there. Peggy's a very haunted doll. Um, and places to go, definitely Mexico City to the Haunted Doll Island.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Dying to go there. And one of the places I have not been yet, but I've been so close, and I just need to go is Eastern State Penitentiary. Not been there. Queen Mary. I want to go to the Queen Mary too.
Oh,
Yep,
definitely,
not ever
definitely.
been there. So yeah, there's quite a few that I still haven't been yet, but I'm gonna make it one of these days.
Yeah. Have you done or been to uh, Eloise?
Actually, no. Eloise is another one. Yep. Nope, I have not.
Yeah, because that's not far over the border, but for us to get to that particular border is like an 8 hour drive anyway.
Oh
Because like
wow.
we are like not far from Montreal, so it's to get down that far, you still got to like go through Toronto, and that's a 6 to 8 hour journey before you even get to the border. So it's like, yeah, we'll fly, it'll be easier.
Yeah.
So we are coming towards the end. So what's next apart from some of your locations? But I still want to know what's next for Jamie Mose.
So, my next investigation will be down in Galveston, Texas, with the Kling brothers. They used to be on Ghost Lab, but this is probably this, and then I think they may have one or two more left, and then I believe that's going to be it for the paranormal for them because they're going to go ahead and retire from the paranormal. So I'm excited to be able to get to hang with them a few more times, but we'll see. Maybe down the road they might try to do something else. But unfortunately, though, around April I'm going to have back surgery, and then after that I'll have to have neck surgery, and so I'm going to have to kind of put everything on hold for a little bit. So
That that sucks.
yes, it
Yeah.
does.
The thing is, though, yeah, getting old sucks. Trust me.
Yes, I always tell
Yeah.
everybody that it's not for wimps.
Oh yeah, for sure. So we mentioned offline that we both got the connection to the health service. Have you actually had any experiences while you've been involved with the health service?
Well, actually, the clinic I work in is a tribal facility. I can't mention the tribe, but anyways, but there used to be a Native American school there on the grounds, and so, oh yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff that happened in that building, but we're not supposed to talk about it. But doors will open on their own. We'll hear voices. All kinds of stuff happens. But one really interesting thing happened with a patient. Her daughter had passed away, and so I was doing an exercise with her that she used just a little rubber ball. And so I had set it on the table with the head up. And so the head was up like this. And I put the ball here, kind of like in a little crack. And so we were talking about things and talking about the paranormal. And she was saying that she knew that her daughter was around her, and like little things would happen and things like that. And that's what I told her. I said, yeah, I'm sure she is, you know. And so we were talking, and she's getting emotional. And the ball goes uphill from where it was up the table. And we both saw it, and her jaw dropped, and I was like, she's here. She's here right now. So
Oh man.
that was with a patient. So that was really cool to see that because I knew her daughter was there. So yeah, it was neat.
See, and it's always cool when those kind of things happen
Oh yeah.
in your place of work or things like that, and
Oh yeah.
it's just great fun. Jamie, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Oh yeah,
I
me
can't
too.
believe I can't believe that I'm talking to a kleptomaniac, but hey,
Only from the outside. There's no claim on
okay,
it.
okay, okay. But like I say, it's been an absolute pleasure. I thank you for your time. Hopefully, we can talk again soon, and we'll definitely stay in touch because I want to hear some more about your locations. But for now, thanks very much. It's been an absolute pleasure. You have a great rest of the evening.
Well, you too. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.